Before we dive in, drop a comment below and let us know, where in the world are you watching from tonight? Rain hammered against the cracked windshield of Kiana Lowe's old Honda. She smacked the steering wheel in frustration as the engine coughed once, then died completely. The car rolled to a pitiful stop beneath the flickering lights of a deserted gas station. Each raindrop glittered under the fluorescent glow, like falling shards of glass. Kiana, 27, pressed her forehead to the wheel, fighting back tears. The weight of the world seemed to sit squarely on her shoulders. Rent, 3 weeks overdue. Eviction notice, tomorrow. Her sister Zoe, 16, at home and sick again, fever burning through the night. The clinic had turned them away yesterday. No insurance. No money. No medicine. What am I going to do? She whispered, voice trembling. The rain thickened, drumming against the car roof. The last station clerk locked up and drove away, leaving Kiana alone in the empty lot. She shivered, not from the cold but from the silence. There was only one person she could think to call. Derek. Her ex, 6 months gone, chasing his career in Chicago. He'd said, if you ever really need me, I'll be there. And right now she needed someone. Anyone. With shaking fingers, she scrolled her contacts and dialed. Ring. 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 Hello. The voice was male. Deep, steady. Not Derek. Kiana checked the screen she'd misdialed. A 7 instead of a 4. I'm sorry, she blurted. Wrong number. Wait, the man said before she could hang up. You sound upset. Are you okay? She froze. Something in his voice, genuine, gentle, cut straight through her defenses. I'm fine, she lied, though her cracked voice betrayed her. You don't sound fine, he said softly. Where are you? Are you safe? The dam broke. A sob slipped out before she could stop it. My car broke down, she admitted. I'm at a gas station. It's late. And I don't know what to do anymore. There was silence. She expected him to hang up. Why would a stranger care? I'm Silas, he said finally. What's your name? Kiana. He repeated it almost carefully. Kiana. That's a beautiful name. Listen, I want you to lock your doors, all right? Is there anyone you can call? She gave a hollow laugh. That's what I was trying to do when I dialed wrong. No friends. No family. Just my little sister, and she's sick at home. I know what that feels like, Silas murmured, and for some reason she believed him. She admitted she couldn't afford a tow truck. She confessed the truth she rarely spoke aloud. Eviction, job loss, medical bills, grief. And Silas just listened. No interruptions. No pity. Just presence. I'm sorry, Kiana whispered after 20 minutes, embarrassed. You didn't need to hear all that. Sometimes we need to say things out loud, Silas replied. Especially when someone doesn't expect anything back. Kiana's throat tightened. She hadn't realized how badly she needed someone to simply stay. Where do you live? He asked gently. She hesitated. I'm not coming over, he clarified quickly. Just figuring out how to get you home safe. She told him. Rook Heights Apartments. That's near Reed Avenue, right? Gas station with a broken sign? She blinked. Yes, how did you? Lucky guess. He didn't explain. I'm sending someone I trust. His name's Marcus. He'll take you home. No charge. You don't have to. I know. I want to. Kiana was stunned. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. A long pause. Then, maybe I need this as much as you do. 10 minutes later, headlights swept across the empty lot. Marcus, an older man with kind eyes, stepped out and introduced himself. Kiana gathered her things, still holding the phone. I'm home, she whispered when Marcus dropped her off. Safe? Silas asked. Safe, she breathed. Good. May I call tomorrow, to check on you and your sister? She hesitated. He was still just a stranger. But her heart said yes. I'd like that. She ended the call, staring at the screen. The wrong number. And yet, exactly the right one. Across town, Silas Grant set his phone on the sleek glass of his penthouse desk. Outside, the city glittered. Inside, silence pressed heavy. He'd built an empire, grand investments, billions under management. Magazine covers. Wealth beyond measure. But after his wife left a year ago, all of it had meant nothing. For months he'd felt nothing. Until tonight. For the first time in a long time, Silas Grant didn't feel alone. The tabloids had painted Silas Grant as untouchable, an empire builder with a heart made of ice. Vanessa, his soon-to-be ex-wife, had told a different story. You don't know how to love anyone but your company, she'd said the night she left. Now, months into the divorce, she was demanding half of everything. Silas didn't care about the money. What haunted him was the possibility that she had been right, that he had been emotionally absent, that he had built walls even love couldn't scale. Then, 3 months ago, his mother died. The one person who had believed in him from the very beginning, who reminded him he was more than numbers and ambition, was gone. Since then, he had shut himself off from the world. He ran his firm from behind screens, sending late-night emails instead of facing people in boardrooms. He ignored parties, invitations, charity galas. The only place he went was the cemetery. When the unknown number lit up his phone last night, he'd nearly let it ring out. But something made him answer. And in Kiana's voice, raw, exhausted, trembling, he had heard a reflection of his own loneliness. For the first time in months, he had felt something. Silas walked to the glass wall of his penthouse, the city glittering beneath him. The skyline had never looked beautiful to him before, just busy, endless, relentless. Tonight, it shimmered like possibility. He thought of Kiana, alone, fighting for her sister, caring far too much for someone so young. He made a decision. He would help her. Quietly. Anonymously. Not for gratitude, not for recognition. Simply because he could. Tomorrow he would call in favors. A clinic visit. A mechanic. A chance to ease her burdens. For the first time since his mother's death, Silas felt something flicker inside his chest. A small flame. Morning. Kiana woke to find Zoe already at the kitchen table, spooning cereal into her mouth with a weak but genuine smile. "Your fever's down," Kiana said, touching her forehead. "Better," Zoe admitted. Then her eyes narrowed. "Who was that guy who drove you home last night?" "I heard voices." "Just a driver," Kiana said quickly. "My car broke down." Zoe frowned. "We can't afford to fix it." Before Kiana could answer, her phone rang. A known number. Her heart skipped. "Hello." "Good morning, Kiana." The voice came warm, smooth. "It's Silas. How are you and your sister today?"
Kiana turned her back so Zoe wouldn't see the smile tugging at her lips. "She's better. Thank you again for last night. I don't know what I would have done. I'm glad I could help." A pause. Then, "I spoke to a mechanic friend. He'll tow your car this morning and take a look. No pressure, just a diagnosis." "Silas, I can't afford." "No commitments," he interrupted gently. "And I have connections at Mercy Clinic. If you take Zoe today, ask for Dr. Patterson. He's expecting you." Kiana blinked. "Why are you doing this?" A long silence. Then Silas said, "Because last night was the first time I felt anything in a long time. Maybe you're helping me as much as I'm helping you." The honesty in his voice rooted itself deep inside her. "Can I call you tonight?" he asked. "After the clinic." Her lips parted before she could stop herself. "I'd like that." When the call ended, Zoe eyed her suspiciously. "Who was that? You're smiling." Kiana touched her cheek. She hadn't even realized she was. "Just someone who's helping us out." The clinic. Dr. Patterson was a kind-faced man with a gentle manner. He examined Zoe, listening to her lungs, nodding with quiet assurance. "This should help," he said, scribbling prescriptions. "I'd like to see her again in a week." Kiana's stomach twisted. "Doctor, our insurance situation." He waved her words away. "Don't worry. We have a program for families in transition. Just focus on Zoe." At the pharmacy, Kiana braced herself for the cost. But the pharmacist simply smiled. "It's been taken care of." Zoe's eyes widened. "How?" "Who?" Kiana held her close. "Maybe we've got a guardian angel." Evening. Back on their small balcony, Kiana watched the sunset paint the sky in muted oranges and pinks. Her phone buzzed. She answered instantly. "Hey," she said, warmth spilling into her voice. "Hey, yourself," Silas replied. "How'd it go?" "Better than I could have hoped. The doctor was so kind. And the prescriptions were already paid for when we got there." She paused. "That was you, wasn't it?" "I have connections," he said vaguely. "I'm just glad Zoe's being taken care of." Her voice caught. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already have, Kiana. Just by letting me be here." Silence settled between them, soft, not heavy. Kiana leaned against the railing, phone pressed to her ear. "I still don't understand," she whispered. "Why you're doing all this. You don't even know me. Sometimes, Silas said quietly, you can know someone better through their voice than by seeing them every day. Her heart thudded, unsteady. Tell me about you, she said suddenly. All I've done is unload my problems. I want to know you. For a moment, she thought she'd pushed too far. Then, softly, he began. I grew up in a small town. My dad left when I was a kid. My mom worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. And Kiana leaned back in her chair, listening, realizing that maybe this wasn't just a wrong number at all. Maybe it was the beginning of everything. She always believed in me, Silas said, his voice quieter now, as if he were confessing a secret. She pushed me to get an education, to dream big, to never settle for small-town limits. She sounds wonderful, Kiana whispered. She was, Silas admitted, grief heavy in his tone. She passed away 3 months ago. Kiana's heart tightened. Oh, Silas, I'm so sorry. Thank you. It's been hard. She was the only person who knew me for who I was, not for what I could give them. Kiana thought of her own parents, gone too soon. I understand. When mine died, it felt like the world lost all its color. Silas exhaled, almost startled. Yes. Exactly. Everything's gray now. For a long moment, silence connected them across the line, shared grief binding strangers. What do you do for work? Kiana asked softly. Finance, he said, his voice shifting. Nothing exciting. It must pay well if you can cover strangers' medical bills, Kiana teased gently. Silas chuckled. I've been fortunate. But money isn't everything. Trust me. His voice dipped, carrying a loneliness she could almost feel. She didn't press. He wasn't ready to reveal everything. What about you? Silas asked. Before the insurance job, what did you really want? Kiana hesitated. No one had asked her that in years. She'd buried her dreams beneath bills, caretaking, survival. I was taking night classes in business administration, she admitted. I wanted to move into management someday. Be the one making decisions, not just carrying them out. You'd be good at that, Silas said firmly. You're smart, resourceful, and you care about people. That's rare in business. Her throat tightened. Thank you. But right now I just need a job, any job. Actually, Silas hesitated. A friend of mine is looking for someone. Administrative work, with room to grow. Would you be interested? Kiana sat straighter. Are you serious? Yes, absolutely. Good. I'll text you the details tomorrow. It's at Pinnacle Tower, downtown. Her eyes widened. Pinnacle Tower was home to the city's most prestigious firms. Silas, they'd never hire someone like me. Someone like you? He challenged. You mean someone intelligent, hardworking, and dedicated? They'd be lucky to have you. Just promise you'll try. His certainty was like warmth wrapping around her. Okay, she whispered. I promise. That night, they talked for hours. Books. Movies. Places they dreamed of visiting. For the first time in months, Kiana laughed. And for the first time since his mother's death, Silas did too. 2 weeks later, life was shifting. Her car, mysteriously repaired for a fraction of the cost. Her landlord, suddenly granting a rent extension. Her sister, stronger every day thanks to medicine she could never have afforded alone. And now, Kiana stood before Pinnacle Tower, clutching her resume, wearing her best outfit. Her phone buzzed with a text from Silas that morning. You've got this. They'll love you as much as I. The message cut off abruptly, unfinished. Still, it gave her courage. Inside, the marble lobby gleamed. Glass walls soared. She'd never been in a place this sleek, this intimidating. The security guard sent her to the 30th floor. As the elevator climbed, her stomach fluttered with nerves. Could she really belong here? The receptionist, all smiles, greeted her warmly. Mr. Thompson is running late. Please have a seat. Water. Kiana nodded, heart racing. From where she sat, she could see the bustle of executives behind glass walls. Men and women in expensive suits, moving with purpose. She was so lost in her thoughts that she almost missed it. Tell him I'll have the reports by end of day. Rescheduled Chen for next week. A voice. Deep. Firm. Familiar. Kiana's blood froze. She looked up. A man stepped out of a corner office. Tall. Dark hair. Impeccably tailored gray suit. His eyes carried the weight of sorrow she recognized from his voice alone.
Mr. Grant, the receptionist called. The Thompson portfolio is ready for your review. He nodded absently, then his gaze fell on her. Kiana. Recognition flickered across his face. Confusion, shock, then something that looked almost like panic. Kiana, he breathed. Her pulse roared in her ears. You're Silas Grant. Thompson and Grant. The receptionist blinked between them. Do you two know each other? Kiana stood slowly, her voice cold. Apparently we don't. Silas stepped toward her, face pale. Kiana, I can explain. But the betrayal burned sharp inside her chest. The nights of honesty. The secrets she'd spilled. And all this time he had hidden the truth. He wasn't just some man with a kind voice. He was Silas Grant, Billionaire CEO. Mr. Grant, your 10 o'clock is waiting, an assistant called from down the hall. Silas ignored them, eyes fixed only on her. Please. Just let me explain. But Kiana was already backing toward the elevator, her voice breaking. I have to go. The elevator doors slid shut between them. And for the first time in weeks, she felt the old weight pressing down again. This time heavier than ever. Kiana sits nervously in the sleek marble lobby, resume clutched in her hands. The receptionist offers her a polite smile. Receptionist. Mr. Thompson will see you shortly. Can I get you some water? Kiana. Yes, thank you. She tries to steady her breathing, taking in the view from the floor-to-ceiling windows. Everyone here looks so polished, so confident. She shifts in her seat, feeling like an intruder. Then, voice, OS, commanding over speakerphone. Tell Chen I'll review the reports by end of day. Move the meeting to next week. Kiana freezes. That voice. Her heart pounds. A tall man in a tailored gray suit steps out of the office. Dark hair, serious eyes, the weight of grief hidden beneath power. Receptionist. Mr. Grant, the Thompson portfolio is ready for your review. Silas turns and their eyes meet. Confusion flashes across his face, then recognition, then panic. Silas. Kiana. Kiana. Stunned, whispering. You're Silas Grant? The receptionist looks between them. Receptionist. Do you two know each other? Kiana. Coldly. Apparently we don't. Silas takes a step closer. Silas. Kiana, please. Let me explain. But she's already moving. Toward the elevator. Kiana. I trusted you. I told you everything. Was this some kind of game? Poor little Kiana. Did you laugh about me with your rich friends? Silas. Pleading. No. It wasn't like that. You have to believe me. The elevator doors open. Kiana steps inside. Kiana. I can't. Please just let me go. Silas's hand hesitates on the door, then drops. The doors close between them. XD Pinnacle Tower, street. Moments later. Kiana stumbles outside, chest heaving. Tears blur her vision. Her phone buzzes. Text Silas. I never meant to hurt you. Everything I said was real. Another buzz. Text Silas. I didn't tell you who I was because you were the first person to see me. Not my money. Not my company. Just me. Kiana stops on the busy sidewalk. One last message appears. Text Silas. Don't walk away before I can say it out loud. I fell in love with your voice before I ever knew your name. The words hit her like a blow. She grips her phone, torn. A sleek black town car pulls up. The driver, Marcus, rolls down the window. Marcus. Miss Lowe. Mr. Grant asked me to make sure you got home safely. He also wanted you to have this. He hands her an envelope. Inside, Silas's handwritten note. I understand if you never want to speak to me again. But please take the job. You deserve it. I'll make sure you never have to see me if that's what you want. Kiana stares at the handwriting. Familiar yet foreign. Just like him. Marcus. What should I tell him? Kiana looks up at Pinnacle Tower, where somewhere on the 30th floor, Silas is waiting. Kiana. Tell him. I need time. Kiana and Zoe's apartment. Night. Kiana paces. Zoe watches her from the couch, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. So, you miss him. I can tell. Kiana. I miss who I thought he was. So, maybe they're the same person. He helped us when nobody else would. Why is that so hard to believe? Kiana falters, unable to answer. Her phone rings. It's Elaine Matthews from HR at Thompson and Grant. Elaine Vio. Ms. Lowe, following up about the receptionist position. If you accept, you'll report directly to me. No need to interact with Mr. Grant. Kiana hesitates. Kiana. Can I let you know tomorrow? Elaine Vio. Of course. The job is yours if you want it. Kiana ends the call. The offer hangs heavy in the room. XT, City Park, evening. Kiana sits by the pond, lost in thought. She remembers that rainy night at the gas station, the wrong number that changed everything. A shadow falls across her. She looks up. Marcus. Kiana. Are you following me? Marcus. Mr. Grant asked me to keep an eye out. Make sure you were safe. But he also told me not to approach unless you seemed lost. Kiana exhales, half angry, half relieved. Kiana. And if I am lost? Marcus. Then maybe it's time you decide whether to let him find you. Kiana looks down at her phone, Silas's final message still glowing on the screen. At Silas's office, same time. Silas stands by the window staring out at the city. Assistant, oh, Mr. Grant, the board is waiting. Silas. Tell them I'll be there in 5. He straightens his tie, but his gaze stays fixed on the park in the distance. For the first time in years, money, power, none of it matters. The only thing that does is whether Kiana Lowe will give him a second chance. Kiana sits on a bench, staring out at the pond. Her phone buzzes in her lap. She ignores it. Marcus, mid-50s, calm and dignified, approaches quietly. Marcus. I'm not here to bother you. Just an eye on you for your safety. Nothing more. Kiana. Flat. I don't need a bodyguard. Marcus studies her. Something in his steady gaze softens her edge. Kiana. Sighs. How long have you worked for him? Marcus. 10 years. Since before all this success, when he was just a kid with big dreams and a shabby apartment. Kiana looks at him, startled. Kiana. I thought he was born rich. Marcus chuckles. Marcus. Far from it. His mother cleaned houses. He worked 3 jobs to put himself through school. Everything he has, he built from nothing. Kiana absorbs this, shaken. The man she thought she knew feels like a stranger again. Kiana. Then why didn't he tell me who he was? Marcus hesitates, choosing his words carefully. Marcus. People treat him differently because of who he is now. What he has. His ex-wife. He stops himself. Kiana. His ex-wife? Marcus. Sighs. Not my place. But I will say this. When people look at Silas Grant, they see $signs. When he talked to you, he told me you just saw him. Kiana's throat tightens. She remembers those late-night calls, the way his voice softened in the dark. Marcus. He never lied about who he was. Just what he did. And I think that's because, for the first time since his mother died, he found someone who cared about the man, not the money. Kiana looks at the fading sun. Kiana. I don't know what to do. Marcus. Talk to him. One conversation. Then decide. Kiana. I need more time. Marcus nods, rising. Marcus. He'll wait. But don't take too long. Some wounds get deeper with time. Marcus walks away. Kiana's phone buzzes again. A message lights the screen. Text Silas. I miss your voice. Kiana stares at it for a long beat. Kiana and Zoe's apartment, morning. Kiana dials a number. Elaine Vio. Ms. Lowe? This is Elaine Matthews from Thompson and Grant. Kiana. I'll take the job. Elaine Vio. Excellent. Can you start Monday? Kiana. Yes. Elaine Vio. Mr. Grant is away in Tokyo this week. You won't have to worry about running into him right away. Kiana lowers the phone, conflicted, relieved and strangely disappointed. At Kiana's bedroom, night. Zoe helps Kiana lay out clothes for her first day. So, you look beautiful. Silas Grant won't know what hit him when he gets back. Kiana. This isn't about him. Her cheeks betray her. Zoe smirks. So, sure it's not. That's why you've been checking your phone every 10 minutes. Kiana looks away, embarrassed. At Thompson and Grant, 30th floor, Monday morning. Kiana arrives early, nerves written across her face. Elaine Matthews, polished and kind, greets her. Elaine. Let me show you around. They tour the bustling office. People greet Kiana warmly. She slowly begins to relax. Elaine. And this will be your desk. Reception. Simple start, but plenty of room to grow. Kiana sits at her sleek new workspace, eyes widening at the city skyline. Kiana. Thank you for this opportunity. Elaine. Smiling knowingly. Don't thank me. This was all Silas's idea. He said you had potential. And he's rarely wrong about people. Kiana swallows, conflicted again. At reception desk, Friday night. The office is nearly empty. Kiana gathers her bag when the desk phone rings. Kiana. Thompson and Grant, how may I direct your call? Pause. Then. Silas Vio. Kiana. Her heart lurches. Kiana. I thought you were in Tokyo. Silas Vio. Got back yesterday. I've been giving you space. But I can't stop thinking about you. Please. Just one conversation. Face to face. Then if you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. Kiana hears Marcus's words in her head. One conversation. Then decide. Kiana. Softly. Okay. Where? Silas Vio. Bella. Pine Street. 8 o'clock. She hangs up, shaken but resolute. Bella, Italian restaurant, night. Warm light. Checkered tablecloths. Candles flicker in wine bottles. Kiana enters, scanning the room. Silas is already waiting. He stands when he sees her, eyes never leaving her. Silas, you came. Kiana. I said I would. She sits. The air is heavy with nerves, with history, with something unsaid. Silas, you look beautiful. Kiana blushes despite herself. The waiter arrives, takes their drink orders, leaves. Silence stretches, until Silas leans forward. Silas, why didn't I tell you? Because I was afraid. Afraid you'd see me differently. Afraid I'd lose the only thing that's felt real in years. Kiana. Why would knowing you're successful change anything? Silas. Bitter laugh. Because money changes people. The way they look at you. Treat you. Kiana. I'm not people. Silas. Softly. No. You're extraordinary. And that's why I couldn't bear to lose what we had. The waiter returns, takes their order. Leaves again. Kiana fixes Silas with a steady look. Kiana. Then tell me the truth now. All of it. Silas takes a breath. Silas. My name is Silas Grant. I'm 30 years old. I built everything I have from nothing. And I swear to you, nothing in my life has mattered as much as the sound of your voice. Kiana's breath catches. She doesn't answer, just looks at him, torn between anger and the undeniable pull of what they share. Kiana stepped into Silas's office, her breath catching for a moment. The man behind the massive oak desk wasn't the anonymous voice who once comforted her in the dark. He was both that man and the CEO of Thompson and Grant, powerful, commanding, and yet, when he looked up at her, there was nothing but tenderness in his gaze. Come in, Silas said softly, rising from his chair. The sound of his voice, so familiar yet now tethered to his presence, sent a rush of warmth through her chest. Kiana closed the door quietly, her palms slightly damp. She had faced rejection letters, overdue bills, even nights of uncertainty with Zoe. Yet somehow this, facing him here in his world, felt like the most intimidating challenge of all. You wanted to see me? She asked, careful to keep her tone professional even as her heart thundered. Yes, Silas said, rounding the desk. He leaned against the edge instead of sitting back down, choosing closeness over distance. I wanted to welcome you properly. Not as your boss but as, he hesitated, his eyes searching hers. As the man who can't stop thinking about you. Kiana's breath hitched. She should have expected it, but hearing him speak it aloud inside this polished high-rise office made it all the more real. Silas, she began, her voice trembling. This is complicated. I don't want anyone thinking I got this job because of me, he finished gently. He shook his head. You earned this, Kiana. Elaine and I discussed you before I let myself hope you'd accept. You're sharp, resourceful, and you have more determination than half the executives on this floor. His expression softened. I would never insult you by giving you something you didn't deserve. Her defenses wavered at his sincerity. For a long moment, they simply looked at each other, the hum of the city outside muffled by the thick glass windows. It was strange, Kiana thought, how natural it already felt to be in his space. Finally, she managed a small smile. So, what does this mean? For us? Silas's jaw tightened slightly as though he was fighting himself. Then he exhaled. It means I want to try. No secrets. No games. Just us. Kiana's heart twisted. A part of her longed to say yes without hesitation, to dive headfirst into whatever this was becoming. But another part, the part that had been bruised by life's disappointments, reminded her she had Zoe to think about, a future to build. I'm scared, she admitted quietly. So am I, Silas replied. He reached for her hand but stopped short, letting her decide. After a beat, Kiana closed the gap, letting his fingers intertwine with hers. The simple touch steadied her. Then maybe we take it one step at a time, she said. Silas's smile, rare, boyish, genuine, lit up the room. One step at a time, he agreed. A soft knock broke the moment. Elaine poked her head in. Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Grant. Your 10:30 is waiting. Silas's jaw flexed in irritation, but he nodded. I'll be right there. Elaine's eyes flicked to their joined hands and a faint, knowing smile tugged at her lips before she disappeared. Kiana moved to pull away, but Silas tightened his grip just for a second. Tonight, he asked. Dinner. No boardrooms, no distractions. Just us. Her heart raced. She wanted to say no, to set boundaries, but the word caught in her throat. Instead, she found herself whispering, yes. When she finally left his office, Kiana leaned against the closed door, exhaling a shaky breath. She was terrified. She was exhilarated. And for the first time in a long time, she was hopeful. Kiana's heels clicked against the polished floor as she stepped into the office. The city sprawled out behind the glass walls, but her gaze went straight to Silas. He rose the instant she entered, the mask of the powerful CEO in place. Good morning, Ms. Lowe, he said formally, though his eyes betrayed a spark. Good morning, Mr. Grant, she replied with equal composure, her lips twitching. Please, close the door. The moment the latch clicked, the distance between them vanished. Silas crossed the space in 3 purposeful strides, pulling her into his arms. His kiss was urgent, as if he'd been waiting hours instead of minutes. I've wanted to do that since the second you walked in, he murmured into her hair. Kiana laughed, breathless. This is wildly inappropriate workplace behavior, Mr. Grant. I know, he said with zero remorse, grinning in that way that stripped him of all CEO polish. But I can't help it. I've spent weeks falling in love with your voice. Now I get to fall in love with all of you. The word love sent a shiver down her spine. She stepped back slightly, searching his face. Silas, this is happening so fast. You and I, our worlds are so different. There's still so much we don't know about each other. His hands closed gently over hers. We have time, Kiana. All the time in the world. I'm not going anywhere. If you'll let me, I'll prove to you this is real. That we are real. Something inside her softened. She believed him. Against all odds, she wanted to believe him. I'd like that, she whispered. The smile he gave her wasn't the practiced charm of a man used to getting what he wanted. It was rare, vulnerable, the kind of smile that made her feel like the only person in his world. Good, he said. Because I think the wrong number that brought you to me might just be the most right thing that's ever happened. 6 months later. Spring unfurled across the city, and with it, Kiana's life had blossomed. The desperate girl from the gas station was gone. In her place stood a young woman rising quickly at Thompson and Grant. She'd been promoted twice, first to administrative assistant, then to junior account manager. Her knack for reading people, paired with long nights of study, had impressed everyone, including Elaine Matthews, who had become both mentor and friend. You don't just see numbers, Elaine told her one afternoon. You see the people behind them. That's rare, Kiana. Her relationship with Silas had evolved just as quickly. At the office they were discreet, professional, careful, never giving fuel to the rumor mill. But after hours they were simply them. Dinners and quiet weekends, long conversations that always circled back to the thing that had first tied them together. Connection. Zoe too was thriving. A better apartment, improved health, and the chance of a lifetime, acceptance into a prestigious summer arts program. Are you nervous about tonight? Zoe asked as she tossed dresses onto Kiana's bed. Terrified, Kiana admitted, holding up a sleek black gown. These are powerful people, Zoe. Business leaders, society names, the kind of people who expect Silas to be with someone like them. You mean Vanessa, Zoe said flatly. Kiana winced at the name. Vanessa Rathel, Silas's ex-wife. Gorgeous, sophisticated, untouchable. She had recently returned from Europe, and according to gossip, was angling for reconciliation. Silas loves you, Zoe said fiercely. Nothing else matters. Kiana hoped her sister was right. That night, the penthouse gleamed like a palace. Marble floors, towering windows, chandeliers, a quartet playing softly while servers floated through the glittering crowd. Silas, devastating in his tuxedo, caught sight of her instantly. Whatever conversation he'd been having, he abandoned without apology. You're here, he said, taking her hands, brushing a kiss against her cheek. You look breathtaking. Her nerves melted into a smile. You're not so bad yourself. Introductions followed, a whirlwind of board members, clients, and dignitaries. Some eyed her with polite curiosity, others with warmth, especially those who knew her from the office. Elaine swept in with her husband and hugged her tightly. You look stunning, Elaine said. Then with a wink, don't let these vultures rattle you. Half of them are just jealous they didn't misdial Silas's number themselves. Kiana laughed, finally starting to relax. And then the hush fell. The elevator chimed. Heads turned. Vanessa Rathel stepped into the room. Tall, elegant, ice queen perfection. Her gown shimmered under the chandeliers, her golden hair sculpted into flawlessness. The air itself seemed to shift as she crossed the room, her smile a blade sheathed in charm. Darling, Vanessa purred as she reached Silas, brushing kisses against both his cheeks. What a lovely gathering. Just like old times. Hey, he said softly, stepping out of the elevator. Hi, Kiana replied, hugging her folder against her chest like a shield. You're still here? Silas asked, his voice gentler than usual. I thought you'd be home hours ago. I had work to finish, she said quickly, almost defensively. He studied her face for a long moment, then reached out, brushing his fingers lightly over hers where they gripped the folder. Or are you avoiding me? Kiana swallowed. I just needed time to think. About Vanessa, he guessed. Her silence was answer enough. Silas sighed, running a hand through his hair. She always knows how to stir chaos. It's what she thrives on. But you, he paused, lowering his voice, you're my peace, Kiana. Don't let her take that away from us. Kiana looked up at him, conflicted. You make it sound so easy. It is, Silas said simply. He stepped closer, lowering his head until their foreheads touched. It's you and me. That's all that matters. Her heart fluttered. She wanted to believe him. She almost did. But doubt still whispered. He belongs to a world I'll never fit into. I should go home, Kiana said, pulling back reluctantly. Zoe's waiting. She made dinner. Silas gave a small, wistful smile. Lucky you. He pressed a kiss to her forehead, lingering just long enough for her to feel his warmth before stepping back. Tomorrow? Dinner. Just us. No galas. No ghosts from the past. Just us. Kiana hesitated, then nodded. Okay. As she stepped into the elevator, she caught his eyes one last time. They held the same unwavering steadiness that had first drawn her in, but the seed of Vanessa's intrusion still twisted inside her. The next evening, Kiana sat across from Silas at a small corner table in an intimate Italian restaurant, the kind of place where candles flickered low and conversation stayed private. He poured her a glass of wine, then reached across the table to take her hand. I don't want you doubting this, he said, voice firm but tender. Doubting us. Silas, she began, unsure how to voice the storm inside her. You've seen how Vanessa operates. You know what she's trying to do. But you need to understand something. He squeezed her hand, his gaze unwavering. When I look at her, I see the past. A mistake. A life that wasn't meant for me. When I look at you, I see my future. Kiana's breath caught. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. Still, insecurity lingered. And what if your world won't accept me in it? What if you change your mind? He leaned in, his voice fierce but low. Then I'll leave that world behind. Because without you, none of it matters. Her eyes stung, tears threatening. For the first time since the gala, the weight in her chest began to lift. She squeezed his hand back, whispering, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose you. You won't, he promised. Then, with a half smile meant only for her, unless you walk away. And if you try, I'll just find you again. Wrong number or not. Kiana laughed through the tears, the tension breaking, and in that small restaurant, away from chandeliers and champagne, she finally let herself believe him. Silas was waiting when the elevator doors opened, leaning against the frame as if he'd been there a while. His tie was loose, his expression tired, but his eyes lit up the moment he saw her. There you are, he said softly. I was just about to come looking for you. Kiana blinked, caught off guard. Hey yourself, she replied, a small smile tugging at her lips. How was Los Angeles? Busy. Loud. Profitable. He gave a half shrug, then leaned closer. Mostly I just missed you. The honesty in his tone thawed something that had been stiff inside her since the gala. I missed you too, she admitted. They rode down in silence, not the strained kind from the week before, but tentative, like standing on a bridge you're not sure will hold. Have dinner with me tonight, he said as the lobby came into view. I can't, Kiana said. Zoe's cooking. She's been practicing and I promised I'd taste test. Tomorrow then? She hesitated, then nodded. Tomorrow. Outside, the air was warm with the faint perfume of early spring. Silas walked her to her car, his hand brushing hers without taking it. Kiana, he said as they reached the curb. Whatever Vanessa said, whatever game she tried to play, don't let that poison what we have. She belongs in my past. You're my present. I'd like you to be my future. Her chest tightened. He sounded so certain. She wasn't sure she could match it yet. "I'll see you tomorrow," was all she could manage. That night, driving home, Kiana thought of Elaine's words, about Silas at his mother's bedside night after night. It stirred a memory she hadn't let herself revisit in a long time. Those first nights after she dialed the wrong number, broken and exhausted. Silas hadn't hung up. He'd stayed with her hour after hour, his voice an anchor until dawn. Just like he'd done for his mother. Not for recognition, not for show. Simply because he understood what it meant to be present when someone needed it most. By the time she reached her apartment, her decision was made. The next evening, she didn't meet him at a restaurant. Instead, she sent an address. Westbrook Heights. 7 p.m. "There's something I need you to see." He arrived right on time, confusion flickering across his face when he saw the old brick building. Kiana was waiting on the front steps. "This is where Zoe and I lived," she explained, leading him up the 4 flights of stairs to the apartment at the end of the hall. Her key still fit. The rooms were empty now, waiting for new tenants, but the memories clung to every corner. "This is where I raised my sister," Kiana said quietly. "Where I sat at this very table wondering how we'd make it to the next month. Where I cried myself to sleep more times than I can count. And where I was sitting when I dialed your number by mistake." Silas walked through the space slowly, reverently, as if it were a cathedral. Finally he said, "It's not much, but it's real. And you made it home. I needed you to see it," she continued, turning toward him. "Because no matter what Vanessa says, this is who I am. I don't belong in your world of penthouses and black tie galas." A faint, almost wistful smile touched his lips. "You think I was born there?" Her brow furrowed. "My mom cleaned houses," he said simply. "I washed dishes in a diner to pay for community college. Marcus has known me since those days. Everything I have, I built from nothing. Vanessa didn't want me, she wanted the image, the spotlight. But you?" His voice softened. "You saw me before you knew who I was. When I was just a voice on the other end of the line." Kiana's throat tightened. "I've been so foolish," she whispered. "Letting her get into my head." "No," he said, stepping closer and taking her hands. "You've been brave. Brave to raise Zoe on your own. Brave to let a stranger in when you had every reason to shut the world out. Brave to stand here tonight and tell me your truth." Her tears spilled over. "I love you, Kiana Lowe," Silas said, pulling her into his arms. "Your past, your present, and the future I want to build with you, if you'll let me." Her reply came as a whisper against his chest. "I love you too, Silas Grant." Their kiss was tentative at first, then deepened, carrying the weight of every fear, every longing, every promise. When they finally parted, Silas rested his forehead against hers. "No more doubts. No more doubts," she breathed. Hand in hand they left the apartment, closing the door on the past. 1 year later. The garden of Silas's country home bloomed with roses and lilies, a white archway standing ready at the end of the aisle. Silas waited there, nervous and radiant all at once. Zoe, radiant in her bridesmaid's dress, adjusted her bouquet, flashing Kiana a conspiratorial smile. Marcus, solemn but proud, offered Kiana his arm. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready," she said, her heart swelling as the music began. Every step carried her closer to the man who had been nothing more than a wrong number once upon a time, and yet everything now. Silas's smile widened as she reached him. "You came," he whispered, echoing the words he'd spoken on their first real date. "I told you I would," she replied, squeezing his hands. And as their friends and family looked on, Kiana knew with certainty, she hadn't stumbled into the wrong world. She'd found exactly the place and the person she belonged to. The beginning of everything.